Hello, everybody. My name's Coral. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here today with one of my very favorite videos to make. I'm so excited. Today I'm going to be recommending a few winter horror books that I've read and I think really have a good grasp of like the atmospheric, freezing, like claustrophobic feel that you can get from like a really good spooky horror book that's set in the winter months, and also a couple that I am hoping will give me those vibes that I plan on reading during this winter. So first off, my recommendations. This one is a nonfiction that is I would say horrific. It's a horrific nonfiction book. This is Into Thin Air by Jon Krakauer. This is about the 1996 Everest disaster where there was a couple teams going to the summit the same day this really rapid kind of freak storm hit, and unfortunately many people died and many were left with lifelong injuries, losing limbs, having to have reconstructive surgery done, and you know, of course, the really horrific thing, which is so many lives lost. And Jon Krakauer was a reporter on this expedition. He was doing a story for a magazine, but as somebody who had, you know, climbed often in his youth, and then, you know, he trained, of course. Everyone trains to go on this Everest expedition. I think this might be my favorite of Jon Krakauer's books. I really think his books are just so good. They're so hard to put down once you read them. And I've only read this book on this experience. I have watched a couple, like PBS documentary type things. One was a PBS. I'm not sure what the other one, like what station was, but you know, along the same lines where they talk about this, and there are interviews from the survivors and things like that. So I don't know if this is the best account, but it was very interesting, and I think I got a good grasp at least of what happens. You know, maybe some details are and as he explains in this book, everyone was exhausted by the point that they got to the summit. People are sleep deprived, they're not eating enough. There's obviously, you know, you get a lack of oxygen because the air is very thin up there, and so your brain can really kind of play tricks on you. So this real life horror, super chilly feeling read. Next on my list, I have Snow by Ronald Malfi. It's called Snow. Of course it's gonna be chilly. And this is about a man, Todd, and he is trying to make it to see his son for Christmas. Him and his ex-wife are split up and they live in two different states. So Todd is trying to get back to his son, and unfortunately all the planes are delayed. There is no way he can get from the airport on a plane to his final destination. So he and a couple people who are also on this delayed flight decide to rent a car together and try to drive. And on their way there, they come across a man on the road, and he keeps saying that his daughter is missing. And so everyone's very worried for him. There's this huge storm kicking up, you know, so everyone stops and gets out to look for his daughter. And then things very quickly go downhill from there. This, I think, is a really good read-alike for the movie 30 Days of Night. It has that kind of really fast pacing, a lot of flitting around. Once these people get into this town that they're outside of when they meet the man with the missing daughter, there's lots of like trying to get from this building to that building to this building. It just really kind of had the same tone, the same vibes as 30 Days of Night. And of course, there might be something really wrong with the snow that is falling in this town. So yeah, I mean, can you get more winter horror than this book? Okay, and the last recommendation I have isn't a book that I really loved, but I do think that, like I said in the very beginning of my video, it really holds that really atmospheric, chilly feeling that I'm looking for. And the atmosphere in this book was really great. This is about a young family. They're transplants from New York City, and now they are living in a more rural place, a more not city-like place in New York, and they're dealing with like their first winter in the country, and these strange things start to happen on the land that they're living on, and the mother is very worried about this, but her husband is kind of gaslighting, and he's just telling her, oh, it's because you've never experienced a winter in the country before, and oh, these things can happen. You just, you know, if you look it up. And, you know, mom's just she feels very weird about it. It feels very ominous. And as things turn out, there is something going on with the land. This is just a really good winter book. I don't want to give anything away, but it does get very chilly. And I don't necessarily love where the plot went, but for sure this had really chilly winter vibes. On to the next 3 books. These are 3 books that I'm planning on reading in the next 3 months to see if I can just get some chilly winter vibes from them. The first one here is Near the Bone by Christina Henry, and this is about a woman named Maddie, and she lives with a man named William. And from the synopsis, I kind of get the feeling that maybe Maddie doesn't necessarily want to be there. Like maybe she's being held captive to some extent, because they describe William as like being very angry, and it just, I don't know, I get the feeling that maybe Maddie doesn't want to be there in this cabin on the mountains, and now Maddie is seeing strange animal corpses, like mutilated, destroyed animal corpses in the woods near their cabin, and it's very unusual, and it is making her worried about what might be out in the woods. And then these strangers come to the cabin, and William's really upset, and I don't know much more than that. The synopsis is a little bit vague, and I like that. I don't want to know what the story is going to be exactly about just by reading the synopsis. I've read one book by Christina Henry. It was one of her like reimagined fairy tales that she is well known for, and I didn't love it, but I'm hoping maybe I will like something where it is a whole new idea, you know, a whole new fresh idea from her. Okay, next is one I'm very, very excited about. This is The Visitor by Sergio Gomez, and this is about a snowstorm, and these 5 strangers are seeking refuge in a diner, which like already is really a fun setting, I think. It reminds me of, is it Maximum Overdrive with the Stephen King short story that they made a movie of, where like all the trucks try to kill people and they're hiding in a diner. I think it's Maximum Overdrive, but that's what this reminds me of. But also, there is a fucking alien on the cover, so I'm really hoping that there is some really spooky alien stuff. Aliens scare me very much, and I feel like I haven't read a really good alien book, like maybe ever. So I don't know. I love movies with aliens in them. That really is something that like scares me deep inside. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like a really irrational fear that makes like my eyes water if I think about it too much. Like I'm so scared I'm crying almost. So I hope that book scares the shit out of me. Next up, A Cold Place for Dying by Christopher Triana. This is about a hunter who's hunting on a mountain, and while he's hunting, a woman runs up to him and says that she's being held captive and begs him to help her. And as this woman is explaining to him what's going on, a man comes up and says, oh, this woman is my wife and she's having a mental breakdown. And she thinks that I'm kidnapping her, but I'm not. She's my wife. And then before the hunter can make any real decisions about what they should do, a storm hits. And that's all I know. And this just sounds really great. I've heard a lot of good things about Christopher Triana's work. I've never tried it for myself, but I was excited this came in a recent Nightworms package. It's a Thunderstorms book, and it's signed, and I'm just, you know what, I'm really looking forward to this one. So those are 3 winter horror recommendations and 3 winter horror books that I'm planning on reading this season, and I hope, you know, really give me good chilly vibes. I think these 3 definitely will. Let me know, of course, if you've read any of these and what you thought about them. I hope that you guys are having a super chilly winter. I don't know, it's kind of cold here. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in another video. Goodbye!